We need a guy with legs and energy, you know?
I don't know how much
Who
energy.
also knows the roads.
And he knows every
knows.
road.
He knows
every road, Virginia.
Every road. Every road. Yeah.
Maybe he'd just consult with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, here's Red. Hi, Red.
So Virginia, I did hear from John Bean is going to be late. He said he'd be here
Yeah,
about
I just got
7:30.
that too. Thank you. Yeah. We're going to have, now that Bill has crumped out on us, we have poor John's and David, you're crumping out on us. John's going to be the only downtown person.
I know, that's true.
We have to find somebody to work with him.
Well, since if we're shorthanded and we need legs and, and I'm paired with John to do the poison ivy and tick tour. I did it sometimes.
Poison ivy and ticks.
No, seriously, Virginia, I want to get involved here and.
Okay, you want to join the downtown group?
Sure.
I don't know if David, if you guys met yet?
No, we were not able to meet.
Okay, so there's nothing to be brought up to date. You're starting at the beginning. I hope you're the only group that hasn't met yet.
Hope so too.
Hey, Ellen.
Anna
Hi.
never got in touch with me, so I haven't met.
Okay,
What did I miss?
nothing. We
Okay.
haven't started.
That's great.
It is 7:01. Okay, so we're not expecting Jean, and we're expecting John to be late. And who else are we missing? Anybody? Barbara Yeager.
Yeah, and Barbara?
Barbara Yeager and Tony. Didn't hear from her, so I hope, and Anna, I hope they're all going to be here. Maybe wait a couple more minutes.
David, is this really your last meeting?
In any official capacity, this is my last meeting.
Well, can you join us?
Virginia
We have
already
openings.
gave that effort a try, and I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to reevaluate after a little bit of time how to get involved. But I am definitely able and willing to kind of stay involved unofficially, and provide input and answer questions and probably give you unsolicited input at times, but I'll keep apprised of everything going on for sure.
Okay.
But I don't,
That sounds good. We'll invite you to every meeting from now on.
Yes, right, right.
Or we'll at least send you the minutes.
yeah.
Here's Tony, we need Barbara. And we can get started.
Start-
Barbara.
Do you start July 1st at Save the Sound?
What's that?
Actually, I'll start there July 6th officially, so just after the 4th.
Good.
So I have a question that maybe we can bat around while we wait for Barbara before we officially start the meeting. In looking at the work that
Wait,
we're
wait a
doing-
minute. I just got a thing from Barbara.
Oh, I did too. Yeah.
Sorry, she's not going to make it.
Oh, damn.
So it sounds like my punishment is to take minutes. Is
Oh,
that it?
Oh,
I can take some notes.
Okay, that would be great. Okay, well then we will start the meeting and I'll ask my question after we get started. I don't think we have any guests, do we? No guests. So we have no public comments. And I don't really have any comments either. So did you all read the minutes? Do I hear a motion about the minutes?
motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, okay. Minutes are approved. So the next order of business is the master plan workshop. And I thought we should each report on the extensive amount of work that we've done. But the question I was going to ask before we started the meeting is related to this. If we make recommendations, and David, I think you're the one who's going to have to answer this. If we make recommendations, do we have to be sure that the recommendations we're making are feasible based on the right-of-way strictures and the that kind of thing?
So in my mind, I think the group is trying to determine priorities, so issues that they see, and it's not necessarily important that we fully scope out all these concepts. So if there's a concept that's really rough and it's included in the plan, and after further evaluation is determined infeasible, I don't think that's a problem. I think that we just want to get concepts out there for consideration. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, unless you sit, or unless we're putting something in there which is absolutely unrealistic, I would err on the side of let's get some ideas out there in the plan and see where they go. Yeah.
Okay. It came into my mind because the Shoreline Greenway Trail had an engineering study done from the trailhead in Hammonasset to all the way to the end of East Haven, as a matter of fact, but as far as Madison is concerned, to the Guilford line. And so we know that there's, they studied all kinds of routes, and they came up with a route that had the capacity to do what the trail needed to do, which is a lot more information than we're going to have on any of the other streets that we're talking about. But we don't need that kind of information in order to make these recommendations, right?
Right. I agree. Yes.
Okay. Should we hear first, just because they have such a cute name, what was it? The Poison Ivy and Tick group? John. Oh, John's not. Maybe we should wait for John. For John.
Yeah.
Here.
I mean, yeah, I got nothing. I did reach out after I saw Dave's note about his departure. Yeah, and I said I'm ready to meet, but I think John and I have to put our heads together and get something going.
Okay, so we can come back to that when John's here to see if he has.
I think John's probably just going to have to take the lead just in terms of getting me, sort of activated, just because I still am here in the sort of the freshman class, but I'm ready to pitch in. So
yeah, I think John has already mapped out a trail that that sounds pretty good to me. The sort of woodland trail.
Yeah, I'm unavailable to hike that trail that day, but other than that, I'm all in.
Okay.
Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, really, I'm ready to get out there.
I think it's a bike route too, isn't it, David?
Yeah, a portion of it you can definitely bike. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the east-west route, I'll start with, I've got these listed in an order here that I'll just follow because, so Bruce and I will go first with the east-west route. And we weren't able to meet either. We really tried, didn't we, Bruce?
We sure did. We sure did.
We just had too many.
It's too many. It's just, time flies and it's just too many things going on. That's for sure.
But the other good thing is that there is a huge piece of it is done already was done for the Shoreline Greenway Trail, which I want Bruce to look at before we say that's what it's going to be. But we did have a landscape architect and engineers looking at every possible route to get from Guilford to Clinton or Guilford to the parking lot, and that was kind of all there was. And the Route 1 right of way is wide enough. Oh, and DOT, by the way, has already agreed to this. And the Route 1 right of way is wide enough to put a 10-foot trail, in most cases, a 10-foot trail on the right of way.
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, you might have to push the road over a little bit, but the the space is there if we do it.
So
So the
you-
big issue for Bruce and me is looking at the recommendations from the RSA and seeing how we get from the parking lot to Clinton. And we will do that, right, Bruce, before our next meeting?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna meet up with you during a weekend. Okay, that's the time when I can meet up if you're available.
Yeah, whenever you say. Yeah,
Okay.
yes. My weekends aren't all that exciting these days. That would be fine.
As
So-
far as Route 1, Ginny, is the section on Route 1 near me over here on a straightaway, is that the widest part of Route 1 throughout Madison as far as how wide it is? The actual road, how wide it really is, the legal road?
It's, if you drive down the Post Road, you'll notice on one side or the other that the plantings of the
Yes,
people who live there are well indented into what looks like their property. And I think that's the
right,
the boundary of the state,
yeah,
what the state owns.
yeah,
So it is quite wide the whole way through. And I think I don't know this for sure, but I think part of it might be that the trolley made space.
oh,
When the trolley, when they sadly took the trolley, if we had the trolley, would be done, right? If we had the trolley tracks or trolley right of way, but anyways, so we
Okay.
will continue to work on that. And,
Ginny,
Yeah.
I have something to add
oh, good.
to your project. I guess I should bring it up now. Neck Road, you're kind of always talking that direction, but what about toward the Guilford area? The town is planning to pave, to mill and overlay finish Neck Road, go from Buffalo Bay down to Circle Beach Road. And they already did part of Neck Road, but that's like a spur off of the
right,
part that you're doing. And we want to bring people from Neck Road up to, well, this path, and then in Lowry and down. So I don't know what their plans are for pedestrians and bikes. What they've done up to Buffalo Bay on Neck Road is they've paved it. It's got solid double yellow line and all these signs about bicycle route and share the road with a picture of a car and a bicycle, no pedestrian, just a car and a bicycle, share the road. And that's all they've done. They haven't, so they've kind of thought about eliminating a center line and putting an edge line to give some sort of a space. They didn't do it in that part. And I doubt very much that they're thinking about doing it further down, which, is going to happen soon.
right.
So I think that might be we really need to talk to the Public Works and say, what are your plans for bicycles and facilities on this road where now you're actually going to mill and overlay it? And I think that should be part of the east-west, right? Because then you'll bring that into Lowry, and then the beach people, our group has gone to Surf Club. But so I'm kind of thinking if that might be an area where we could do something like immediately.
That's
Yes.
very interesting.
Rich?
Yeah, I just go back to the first, I think this is my third meeting. The first one that I was on, part of the discussion was this, I think what Ellen is referring to, this disconnect between this committee and the
Yes.
public and the
Yeah.
Public Works at the time where they're actually paving things and putting up signs. And, so again, there's only probably another meeting or so where I can claim ignorance and, be the freshman, and I've got to, do other things. But it really seems like that disconnect is the one place, a key place that this committee should be involved in terms of, here's where, to Ellen's point, we, on this road, there was a bike and I'm gonna make it up, but pedestrians, it wasn't for them, so no one walks there anymore. I don't know, right? But I mean, it's a place where this committee should really have input at the point of purchase, the
Well,
point of
that is-
action.
That's what that policy, complete streets policy, is supposed to do, but
Yeah,
there's nobody who can tell these people what to do, frankly. There's nobody. We can say we have a policy, the town accepted the policy. You have to consider bikes and pedestrians when you're doing substantial road work like this. How can we make this better? We need to discuss this. And if you can't, it's right in the policy. You need to give us a good reasons why not.
yeah.
And it's just it's papers that sit on a shelf. I mean, what can I would love an answer to the how to make it happen.
So what's,
How about if we-
just for my continued edification, so I don't know who the head of the Public Works is, but has, one of us recently met with him or her and said, hey, we want to make sure that you guys get the benefit of, our purview for these issues, and have you done
Yes,
that?
yeah, we have met.
Have you been rebuffed and there's some objection with guy's got his arm crossed at the door up there?
Well, we've met many times. As a matter of fact, it takes me, I don't know, about 3 months to get a list of the roads that they're gonna do. It's like,
But you
It's
got
like
one, right?
I got them.
Wow.
Top secret,
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they don't really know what they're gonna do, I think, half the time until, and then they just already have got all the wheels in action.
I can understand their point of view as well. I'm just trying to play it through. Once they get their go ahead from whomever and they've got, trucks on the ground and a work crew, the last thing they want, they're under pressure and time pressure. Probably the last thing they want is someone coming in regarding, signage that wasn't discussed or a
Well,
border
we're
lane.
actually talking about pavement.
Yeah, but
Improvement.
But Rich, I would certainly hope they go through a design phase before they get their trucks on the ground. And
yeah,
that's the point at which they should
Right.
consider the bikes and pedestrians.
But without our master
yeah.
plan, they don't have recommendations. But why can't we right now suggest that they do no center line and edge lines? It's
Well,
not too late. That's just painting
okay,
after
so
the fact.
I
If our
got,
committee agrees.
right, and I got this list just before the head of Public Works, Johnny Anako, went on vacation, and he's coming back tomorrow.
Timing is everything.
He's coming back tomorrow, and I wasn't gonna email him then, but because he's probably lost in a million emails, but I'm actually gonna call him and say, this is important right now. We have a hot potato. We need to talk about what you're gonna do. That was my plan tomorrow, but
Why can't we give him a suggestion? It's
yeah, I'm gonna suggest a lot of things.
what can't the committee vote on something tonight to say we would like, I'm just throwing this out. I don't know what else.
I think
we
we've
would.
already delegated to Ellen whatever authority she needs to deal with him.
Yeah, I am supposedly the liaison.
Yeah, but he needs a specific recommendation.
Well, Ellen, you're going to give him one, right, Ellen?
Yeah, I'm gonna say no center line and solid edge line, because the roads are really narrow there, but let's try. And there are signs there, but we don't really want signs. We want,
You know what? I believe that the police department put up the signs.
well, yeah.
And I
they-
don't know if the police
correct.
department is communicating with Public Works or not, but. Ooh.
Yeah, but I
you
put
can
up a bike route sign with and then share the road sign with a picture of a car and a bicyclist isn't really something the driver necessarily, I mean, it's sort of a warning, this is a bike route, but if you narrow that lane a little, so the guy had to be a little more careful,
Mhm.
then that person walking their dog on the side or the jogger coming would feel a little more secure. And God, I drove it today and it's tricky. I don't think there's a lot they can do without actually taking people's frontage, but they can do something. And if we don't put a center line, so there's a little, uncertainty with the driver, and we put that solid edge line, that could be the beginning of taking more of the road next time. Sometimes that's a first step to taking more of a shoulder, taking a foot into people's frontage, which they can do, and giving the pedestrian or the biker, the young biker, more of a lane. So I hope to have a fruitful conversation, but I don't know. The trucks might be rolling. They may have signed all the contracts, and I don't know. Dave, have you heard anything about Neck Road?
Oh,
No.
I'm not, no.
Okay. I just think it's one of the key roads it's when I drive down there, I sense the same thing, the same problem we sort of have here, but it has no outlet. So it's probably not as congested as, the other shoreline roads.
It's not, but it is used a lot by bikers, I think.
Yeah, we're trying to get those people. They always complain they can't get to the town green safely because Route 1. So we were trying to take that into consideration with that side path along Route 1, but then getting from their road up there could be done as well. So yeah, I'm gonna call him tomorrow morning. I don't know.
That's great. That's great.
Okay,
You
that
should-
would
you should
be.
know- Oh, go ahead.
I was just wondering if that should be part of your, how are you going to do the east-west ones? There's going to be like a little branches every here and there. You're going to have to add it into that, add that on, right?
I think we haven't really discussed that, but in my mind, there would be spurs that we would refer to, but not necessarily.
Maybe not as big as this one.
Well, for example, and because Barbara and I are doing the north-south route, some of those spurs, for example, should be a spur that goes up to the schools in the park, in Bower Park, and up that way. There should be a spur down to the surf club, which then will meet what you're doing. There would be those kinds of spurs, and I guess that's what I was, that's what I had in mind, but Bruce and I haven't discussed it. So Bruce, I hope you don't mind.
Oh, not at all.
And Ellen, or everybody, you should know, I have asked Peggy to assign Rob Russo to attend our meetings once David's gone.
Oh,
So, but in the interim, until David's replacement is appointed.
And is
Hi, John.
that going to happen?
Well, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I asked for it.
Oh, okay.
I don't have an answer.
Oh, no answer. Okay.
No answer yet, but it's the holiday weekend, so
Mhm.
whatever. Hi, John.
Hey, everybody. Sorry, I'm running late today.
Okay, the other thing I didn't say we're still in the east-west route report. The one thing I didn't say is that I arbitrarily decided that whatever work Bruce and I did on the east-west route should end at, what did I say, Scotland Avenue, and begin again at from Scotland Avenue east and from Memorial Town Hall west, so that we wouldn't
Yes.
muck around in whatever the downtown people are doing.
Right.
Okay, and so then I did the same thing with Barbara, and I decided that where we haven't actually defined it specifically, but where we would probably start so that we avoid mucking around in the we'll have to cross some of the safe routes to schools areas, but we'll try to leave that up to the safe to that group, which I think Lyanne is involved in. So leave whatever routes in that immediate area are up to that group, but then we'll go we'll go further. And so Barbara and I both talked about, or we talked about an east side route and a west side route, trying to make a loop somewhere, in the far reaches of the north of the town. So that's as far as we've gotten on our work. So John, now that you're here,
Yeah.
we're on the downtown, and Rich Vansel has offered to join your group. And as you know, David's leaving, and Bill Baker has resigned from the committee. So do you have any report for us tonight?
So in terms of my area, I'm actually just trying to pull up a map here that I might be able to share with the group. So there were a few, I can't quite find the edit that I had. There were a few things that I noticed on the map from the group that had done it, Rory's group, that we may want to change. And again, I'm not, the only thing I do want to be careful is I'm not sure we want to be married to a specific route right now, rather than a ideology of how this is going to work, because there's a lot of variations that we can make getting from Meg's Point to Rockland. And I think we need to be careful how we set that up, or, how we decide that. I don't know, if we need to give that some more thought. But I was thinking, I was on some of the trails and some of the area the past few weeks, and I was thinking the one thing that's would be good to do would be to recommend certain sections for hiking opposed to biking, or, friendly for biking and hiking, or best for people on beach cruisers or things like that. Because I went out to do North Bailey Trail, I believe is what it's called, through the Madison Land Trust. And the southern terminus has been totally obliterated for years now. And the beavers just flooded it out, and it's a no-go. So, you get somebody up there expecting to be on the Shoreline Greenway Trail, and they're out there on their huffies ready to roll, and it's going to be a grim situation. So I think, we need to set some expectations for the certain sections, and we could maybe do that through brief descriptions. And maybe that would be a good place for the Madison Land Trust, or the Southern Connecticut Water Group, the RWA, to maybe contribute and chime in and kind of plug their resources. So that was one thought I had.
I think that sounds good.
So you're doing the rec trail now.
Yeah, we're not, yeah. I thought we were
Okay.
gonna do downtown, but the recreational trail, I think it is a whole different animal, and I think however you want to approach it is fine.
Was I supposed to be doing downtown?
Yeah.
That's what I was segueing into, but that's okay. This is good.
We could go back downtown. I'm cool with
Well,
that.
we will as soon as we finish here.
Okay.
So I think, what does anybody else think? I think with the kind of recreational trail you're talking about, you really have to do what you're saying. You have to describe the terrain and what it's suitable for.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to give away all the secrets, because part of the fun is flailing around and, maybe getting muddy, or, taking on a little bit more than you thought. But, I think we need to have expectations for safety reasons. Just because,
Right.
if somebody goes out with a cruiser and they want to do the Shoreline Greenway section, have at it. That's going to be a blast. But if they expect similar type terrain in other parts of the town, they might have a really rude awakening.
One thing is
And,
Madison, you probably know this, the Madison Land Trust has very, helpful descriptions about each of the trails. There are 35 of them. So, you can certainly use whatever you want to from those also, wherever there's overlap. But it's helpful because it's about the terrain and talks about if it's very wet, that you need to know that it's going to be a very wet trail, or lots of roots or whatever. They're carefully done.
So
Yeah,
one thing that we could do maybe is, especially in biking trails, there are places, especially at Rockland, where there's more technical bits, but there's always something that you can do to get around it. And if we were to like incorporate that type of philosophy into it, and have like the ability for people to just ride around, like push a stroller, and have like the Greenway Trail style of thing where it's just loose pebbles, and then also have something that's 5 feet off the side of the trail where you're going off whatever and doing other things that can be for the crazy people with massive bikes.
yeah.
that-
I think that'll play into it in certain areas. I mean, I think we need to be careful too, just because we don't want to change, and we don't want to change the terrain, and we don't want to jump into a place where we're worried about wetlands or interfering with things like that. So, I think the terrain is there, and we want to use what is there, and we just want to kind of market it a little bit better and make it at least one artery known. And I was looking around too. There's down in Norwalk, they have quite a bit of similar recreational type trails and routes set up, and also up near not near Berlin, Connecticut, like Barkhamsted, that part of Connecticut. They have some really nice larger recreational type trails that kind of go through their town. But Norwalk in particular had done a nice job putting together some maps and kind of sharing that information. So that might be something we want to look at as we develop this a little bit more, and maybe borrow some of their concepts, or maybe see if we can make contact with folks in Norwalk that were part of that team, and maybe they can help us. So yeah, so that's good. Lots of puddles recently. The vernal pools are pretty full. We didn't find any newts or anything yesterday. We were looking.
Okay, I think you should proceed the way you're talking about it.
Ginny, I have a question for John about marking the trails. Whose responsibility is marking the trails? I know someone recently was telling us that she actually got lost, because of a poor trail marking. And, it seems silly, but she said it was really scary for a while. She totally got lost and didn't know her bearings. She didn't have her phone with her or something. But who marks the trails? Would it be, so if we were going to do something like this, would it be part of our committee, or we would get the town to mark them?
It seems to be the property owner has to be the one.
Right, but
Yeah.
if it's town property,
If it's town property, then maybe
they mark them. Yeah.
But are you talking about town property, John, or it's mostly?
It's a mixture. I would imagine for our route, it's going to be a mix of different, a lot of the trails are already existing. So most of them already do have markings through, blazes on the trails are the most typical marking. I think virtually all the trails that we have on the route have blazes already, or they're identified by a trail color or something on a map. So the only one I'm drawing a blank on would be north, on the RWA property, north of Route 80 and just west of 79. They may not, but I think they do as well. So, the blaze, that's another thing as well. Like certain sections are, going to be for the more experienced navigators, and others may want to warm up to that. When I first moved back to Connecticut, I'll never forget going mountain biking in Westwoods, and I grew up mountain biking in Westwoods, and I'm like, I know this place perfectly. And the sun was setting and my wife and I were like, we can't get back to our car. And luckily these two guys, like, they must have thought we were pathetic, but they literally guided us out. It was pretty embarrassing. So yeah, it could be tough. And the Northeast is a really tough place for trail navigation for the blazes. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's important, I guess, but sounds exciting.
Okay, so John, do you want to talk about downtown now?
Yeah, sure. Let me,
And that's what I was telling you. Rich has agreed to join your group because you've lost Bill. Bill has resigned.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So for downtown, yeah, I mean, there's so many ways we can go here. What does the group think about the kind of the idea of the path going through downtown and using the property along the old 79 road, like we had talked about in previous meetings? Is that in favor of the group, or is that something we want to put into our plan here?
How wide
But
is
certainly, it's old 79, John, is what you just mentioned.
Or I'm sorry, old Boston Post Road,
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that little, yeah,
the little one way there.
Burnbound? That was
Is that the
Burnham.
thing right across from the library?
Yes. Yeah.
I think David, didn't you have you had a pretty good route mapped out to get through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think John's question is for the group, but
it's in the
I'd be in favor
RSA.
of utilizing that excess right away, just because, I utilize Birnbaum Lane either on my bike or walking with my daughter, and occasionally there's conflicts between me and vehicles traveling down that right away and people pulling out and parking. And if I had a dedicated little trail off the road, I think would be pretty attractive. And it seems to be a pretty well-traveled section. But, some people may not appreciate the aesthetics of it. And then, Barbara Yeager even mentioned last time just about, additional pavement or concrete or whatever it happens to be. It may be, utilizing resources that we don't need to use. So I think it's a good discussion.
Can you talk about what's happening to the library, in front of the library? Because I thought this relates somewhat to that. I thought we had talked about how there's such a problem with cars there.
There's two things happening at the library. One is sidewalk repair. If you walk down that section before, the sidewalk had upheaved in several areas. And then the other is they're trying to put ability to like a bypass lane. So if people are stopped at the light, you'd be able to go around them and continue going. It's not very long, so I'm personally skeptical how well it's going to work. But that's what's going on there.
Okay, that's helpful. Which would make it all the more important to be able to do something else on the other side for walkers.
Right.
Yeah, well, I assume that the downtown, whatever the downtown group comes up with is going to be something of a loop or some way to connect the library, the train station, what else is down there? I don't think you can go down the post road with the diagonal parking, but then also getting over to Academy School, because if that's going to be developed somehow by the town, it seems to me that there should be a biking and walking trail sort of skirting that property to get from sort of from the train station to Route 1 west of town.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
John,
Yeah, I think,
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
I think what you were talking about, though, the Burnbound Lane one, there's a whole bunch, that whole dream trail side path is covered in the Shoreline RSA, which is on the website, and it talks, because we talked about doing some sort of a side path from out of East Wharf, all along there, and then go behind the stores, cross over and go behind RJ Julia, and you know where that sidewalk that is behind the stores?
Mhm.
Right.
Widen that sidewalk and continue the trail behind there so bikes could go on it too and still have access to downtown, and then come out again on Route 1, pick it up and continue down Route 1 to Neck Road and, you know, and into Lowry. So there's a kind of a pretty explicit concept of that in the RSA, if you want to look at that.
It's also in the consultant's master
Mhm.
plan, but they had a few things, a
They
little,
had some things wrong with that.
something's wrong, but the RSA has it
Pretty
correct.
detailed, yeah.
Yeah.
It got a little wonky coming back from behind the stores, back up to Route 1 because of that treacherous corner there going to like into Stop and Shop. So we talked about going through that little parquet that's there, that weird little parquet, and
Across from the bank.
yeah, and going back up through somebody's property or something. I'm not sure about that corner. That was tricky, but that would be a way to get bicycles through town, we thought, without having to walk on the sidewalk or, be nervous about cars backing out into them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and the reason I asked was because I think that the routes, coming in and kind of back to your point earlier, Virginia, is, where connecting towns meets the town portion, having a safe, accessible pathway into downtown on the eastern side and the western side. Well, on all sides, I guess south is always safe because there's no way to get there. But on all the other ways, we need safe routes into town when we start looking at the town. And there's really, I rode my bike into town the other day and went to the post office, and even going up Wall Street can be pretty dangerous because of the way cars are parked along the road when you're
Right.
on your bike. There's great sidewalks for the most part. And I think that the new stop signs that we've had in the last few years really help down at the corner of Bradley and Wall Street. But it's still a fairly dangerous route. And since I feel the majority of our pedestrian and bike traffic probably is balanced between the beach area and the downtown area, if we can connect those two through that pathway along that Birnbaum Old Post Road area there, so on the eastern edge, and then on the western side have that connector that would go to the surf club, we'd really be covering both bases. And then we also have the pedestrian pathway coming in from Concord Meadows in the future as well, so that would cover kind of the north. So that was my thought there. I think that's a really crucial area for us to make a point that we really want to focus on that instead of some of the others. I think there's other routes that we can use throughout town, but I think that would be a really big connection area for us. I'm not sure.
I'd like to concur with Ellen and John on that. One of my bike rides, Ellen and John, is from down here. It's what I call going around the block. So up Middle Beach, up East Wharf, towards town, and then Island Ave and back, right? And the scariest part of it, the most treacherous, is that little S curve and that around that parquet that you described. It's hairy. It's just really, really hairy. And the other thing that just came to mind is that once you can make it through the hairy S curve, and you want to do the little strip, from from the road over to Island Ave, there's the sidewalk there on the south side. And it comes to mind, I was thinking of the residents like Bruce, or long-term residents. I rode that as a kid. That sidewalk I swear to God, has not been touched in 50 years the way, no, I recognize the pavement, it reminds me 10 years old, you got to go over this crack and around that bump. Really, I was surprised when I first started really riding a bike that, wow, it's really not been touched in 50 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. We've got a
Yeah, that's
hot.
probably one of the worst stretches of sidewalk in town, I think.
Mhm. And it's in town. If you're going, walking from the town green,
Yeah,
to go buy a book or something, or go down,
yeah.
you gotta walk on it if you cross over. It's a shame.
But it seems like that repair, going back to the DPW, it's like,
Yeah.
and again, I'm still learning, but it's not, there's a huge bunch of green on each side, and just to like kind of rip up that sidewalk and lay new concrete doesn't seem like a big deal.
I know. It's at
I mean,
least
it's like-
in downtown. Yeah, at least for downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost
Well,
like
I
a
mean, you know,
no-brainer.
our job is to make recommendations, and if, you know,
Okay.
it's,
Yeah, and I think
You're
we have a
the
lot of
money.
good areas outlined that could use those recommendations already, and that's definitely one of them. Another just general thing too that I know we talked about and the town's looked at options for is the parking downtown is definitely troublesome to any cyclists that's going to be on the road.
Mhm.
And I don't know if what we can really do, if there are suggestions we can get to help that. I would imagine signs would be pretty much just ignored and not really seen. I know that we can't really change the parking situation as it is, but that's definitely kind of an elephant in the room here too, for anybody cycling through town, especially like on a busy day or busy morning. That can be pretty hazardous. I think it has gotten better since the lines have been on Route 1, improved in the last year or so, but it's still kind of strange, and I don't know where we want to stand on that.
Well, John, you mentioned one time, and I've read about it multiple times, about backing in to those because people back in, and you can do that. Towns have done that. You back in, then they have a much better view going out. It's a lot easier to go out. It's not as easy to back in. So that's probably why people don't like it. But
Yeah, the whole Main Street is just like a massive problem because like it's super picturesque to like ride down, especially during like the winter when it wasn't freezing and like there was all the lights and stuff. But like whenever I'm riding down, I always have like such crazy levels of anxiety, worrying that someone's just gonna like pull out, or if
Yeah.
someone's going to stop in front of me.
Yeah.
And so like I'm constantly looking back between the two. It's like just having the cars like in front of all of the shops all together is, unless if it's like parallel parking, I think having them at like the angle is such a massive problem because they can so easily come out quickly and you're not expecting it.
But then the argument probably would be you'll lose a lot of parking spots by
okay.
doing it any other way. And so what our thought was, bring the bikes around behind, and then at least you have and you can still park your bike and go up those little alleys into town if you want to go get an ice cream or something. It's not like you're not in town. But I know. Well, we could do parking on just one side and put a buffered two-way bike lane on the other side.
Yeah.
I have a vision of us getting that fast.
No, believe me, I want roundabouts on each end. So if I'm coming from the east and I want to go someplace on the left, I don't have to go figure out how to go all the way around and behind and back, or park and then walk across the street where there's really no
Right.
pedestrian crosswalks. It's a mess.
Hey, Ellen, on your point about you know, in back RJ, Julia's there as a potential right for pedestrians and bikes. I also kind of recall, that's kind of a crummy sidewalk as well. It's all sort of patchwork, probably
No,
was
it's-
done at the time that there was development or redevelop. So,
It's brick actually,
okay,
but
yeah.
it's a mess. It's the roots,
Yeah.
and it's not very wide at all.
Right.
And
Is there room to widen it?
yeah, I think the town owns that, right, Dave? Yeah, we thought that they could. I think your voice audio might be off, Dave. I don't know, but yeah,
That's kind of ripe for fixing as well, in addition to the sidewalk that I mentioned
Yeah.
before, going to Island Ave. It's, you know, sort of really kind of crummy
so we're giving
sidewalks
you
that are-
guys a lot of downtown stuff that you could work on.
Yeah, yeah. How this for an idea? Just from my experience with, you know, you're on a bike, you want to, I have no intention of going around behind town because I'm going straight through. So why don't we just call it express? You know, I want to go straight. I don't want to hook a right and go through the whole S thing. What about Sharrows, you know, on the road in the center of in the center of town? So allow the cyclists, hey, this is your lane too. That forces the cars to slow down. You're going to go slow anyway, and the ones that are not going to go slow, well, they are going to go slow because maybe there's a cyclist in the middle of the road, and they should be there. And when you think about all the other options of getting through the center of Madison, it's the safest. When you go around the backside, the traffic, the way the traffic moves on the backside, you're just exposing yourself to all these other situations and scenario. You get to stop and shop traffic. You got there's just a lot of things going on.
But Bruce, this is that little street before the street you're talking. I mean, it's when you go around behind there, it's that kind of parking area actually behind RJ. You know, there's that kind of parking lot area.
Well, yeah, I know the parking lot, but I'm just saying that as a cyclist, if you're gonna if you're on Route 1, you're at Island Avenue, and you're gonna go east, okay? And your plan is you're gonna go to Liberty Street, okay? You're gonna go to Liberty. That's where your destination is somewhere on Liberty Street. Are you gonna want to go straight through the center of town, or are you gonna hook a right on Megswood, you know, and go around the backside and get in a whole cluster of all those little things going on there with cars pulling out, and you know what I mean? I want to go straight.
Yeah,
I don't want to go
but
behind
Bruce,
town.
what about the cars backing into you?
No, well, here's the thing. I would ride dead center on Route 1. I would not hug to the right. I'd take the lane. I'd own the lane on the bike as you're traveling east. And if anything, I'd stay closer to the center median. That's where I would ride with the bike. I think that's the safest place to go.
Yeah, I am sure that you're right. That's what people would do.
And put sharrows down to let
Yeah.
motorists know, hey, this is a road also for cyclists. It's not just a dedicated road for cars, you know. Just like in Guilford, if you go on Whitfield Street in Guilford down to the town dock, it says right there, the sharrows are right in the center of the road.
Yeah.
You know, just to let you know that, hey, don't be surprised if there's a bike in front of you.
I think that's a good idea, and with the sharrows, that's not currently in that plan, and I think putting sharrows there, and I also think it sort of argues for the idea of the solid edge lines and no center out line. When they put that edge line farther out from the median, it does make you as a driver stay away from there, and that gives the bicyclists a little bit of extra space. But the other side about when you're saying about going around behind, it would be terrible now, but the idea would be that there would be a dedicated side path for bikes. So you could just whip around there without having to worry about everything. So you'd have, but they're both two good alternatives, I think.
Yeah.
But the people, you're right. People are still going to just zip right down Route 1, putting sharrows on the road through town. I think is a great idea. Well, and that's easy. They might do that. right away.
Right.
Did
And
I read
Except
years
it's a
ago,
state route.
before,
Oh,
when
right.
when they added those lines by the median, did I read that they were gonna first do that and then expand the median? Because I
I think they
remember,
never finished that project. I think they were supposed to expand the median. I don't know what's happening really now, maybe.
but in a
Okay.
way, we'd rather they didn't if we want to do this with Sharrows at some point. I think
Wasn't
giving
it,
that,
wasn't it the fire thing that the fire department that didn't want the median in the way?
Probably.
Mhm. I think that's right.
They want to be able to pull out and go either direction.
It seems to be working what they've done. I mean, people do kind of
Yeah, they do.
swing
they do
around
follow
and
the
do that
lines. Yeah.
crazy kind of loop there, and it slows them down too.
Okay, so David, did you
Okay.
get enough, did you get enough ideas, or John, I mean, did you get enough ideas there to?
No, keep it going. I do want to say a couple more things real quick that
Go
I was
ahead.
thinking about. Just, and we can float these around because I think the downtown is going to be a bigger project than any couple people can do. This is, it's a beast, and I think it's definitely going to take all of us to contribute. The exit of the southern exit of the Tuxas Pond Walkway, which comes out just west of Cumberland Farms. I think that there should be a bit more of a connection across to the Henny Penny cut through kind of there.
that's a
And,
crosswalk.
Is there a crosswalk?
No, you're recommending a crosswalk at that point?
I would recommend like a crosswalk there. There also is not any crosswalk in the center of town, which is crazy, especially for ADA compliance. So if I was in a wheelchair and I wanted to cross Route 1, there's really no way to do it anywhere.
Go up to
That's
the corners, that's it, yeah.
at either corner, which is terrible. So, I mean, every time I drive through town, there's people running across the road and, they're doing crazy things. But I think if we were to push for a crosswalk, it might make sense to do it at the southern terminus of that Tuxas Pond pathway. It may draw attention there. And I think that connects then to the train station, which then will connect into Concord Meadows in that northern area. So that may pay us dividends later on with this.
Is the walkway suitable for bikes?
It's I believe you can ride bikes, but it's not like a bike path.
No,
No,
but
but
it,
the railings are high enough and purposely high enough so that bikes can safely
okay.
ride along that path, so.
Yeah, I think, well, John, I think all of those recommendations should, they should show up in that section. I would favor, I think your idea of the crosswalk at the walkway is a good idea, but I also think there needs to be another crosswalk like halfway down to
Mhm.
Wall Street.
Yeah, they have to cut into that thing, widen it, and make an ADA compliant crosswalk. But remember, when you do a mid-block thing, especially in town, for a crosswalk, they're gonna have to put an probably overhead beacon light, warning, pedestrian crosswalk warning. I mean, they might be or one of those things in the center of the crosswalk for, like they
Could
have
do
around.
a flag system. Have you seen that before? Those work pretty well.
There has to be something, and I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not sure people are gonna like the way their, our cute little town looks with suddenly all this stuff,
Yeah, there's a lot of crosswalks in Clinton across Route 1. And they don't seem to be encumbered with those kinds of things.
You have to have a sign, pedestrian crosswalk.
Sure, a sign, yeah.
And maybe a center of the crosswalk, one of those, like they have around the green in Guilford, they have yield to pedestrians in the middle of the two-way street.
Yeah.
Right there on the crosswalk. There has to be something for the motorists to to catch their
Oh, no
eye.
question about it. I'm just not, I don't know that it has to go all the way across, Hyatt.
Yeah, I don't know when it's mid-block too. It's a little more important because people
Well,
are.
we'll leave that up to the engineers. We'll just tell them that you need a crosswalk there. Right, right.
Yeah.
Let
My,
them-
my favorite are the flags. If you've never seen them, they probably get stolen, but you have a couple flags on each side. And then when
People-
you cross the road, you just grab the flag and, and kids like them because you can look like a real, wild person waving it around to get people stopped, but it will work. And it's very low maintenance and low profile.
Well, hey.
Write it up.
Get
Write
it.
it.
I'm putting that in my report.
All right.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the beach area with Ellen. Jean's not here, so it's Ellen and Tony. And Bill has backed out, so
Right. Well, yeah. Okay. We actually met 3 times.
great.
We have a 4th one meeting coming up. And so we've walked the area. And then we kind of discussed what we wanted to do. So we've got one last area to walk and discuss. We've divided into 3 sections.
Great.
So we're on our way. And one of our big problems is overgrowth, vegetation,
Mm.
overgrowth. And we need to know whether the town works, public works has a letter that they send out or something, how we go about doing that, because it's,
So
when
is that on private property or on town property?
it's okay, let's talk about the hedge at the intersection of Middle Beach West and West Wharf. The
That's the
hedge on
one.
the south
Yep.
side,
That's
yeah.
the one, yeah.
where you can't, if you're walking or biking, if you're in a car coming,
Yeah.
you can't see anything because the hedge is as high as the road sign.
And it
And-
comes out, someone's gonna get clipped there, Ellen. It is
It's
the
terrible.
accident waiting to happen.
It's
Right.
awful. Well, and also that radius it's a sweep. We talked
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, it's
You
bad.
tighten the corner radius so that the car has to actually slow down when it comes around, but you just do it with a line. Because if you have a truck delivering to the hotel and then going down to deliver to the beach club or something, it could go over the line if it's a big delivery
Yeah.
truck or something.
Yeah,
So we talked about that, but cutting those hedges down, there's so many intersections where that's a problem.
Well, I think you should note that. I think,
Yeah, if there should be a form a letter that can go out the minute we find it and complain, the town should send a letter out and have, you have so much time to do this, either trim back or lower the hedge. They could lower it to a 3-foot hedge, and then I don't think it would be a problem.
well, when you're talking with John tomorrow,
I will ask.
bring that up and ask him if there's a process already, or do we need to recommend a process?
Yeah, well, we have talked about it. I actually don't think they have a formal letter, but
Well, then I think maybe it's our job to recommend,
yeah,
some
I'd love to write it, You got 2 days, you do it, or we'll do it.
$150 a day if you don't.
That's right.
Doesn't the town, I'm not sure if it's John's group or not, but if you own a property downtown and your sidewalk is poorly maintained, wouldn't they make you typically repair that because of liability?
And this, by
Like
ordinance,
based on the trip factor?
Yeah, you're supposed to.
So
But
it would be it'd be such a liability for the town or for the property owner to have something like that. Maybe we could follow a similar template.
I agree, because I couldn't walk all winter on that sidewalk on Island Avenue because the property owner never shoveled it. you couldn't walk on it, how to walk in the road. You couldn't get to the button for the
So there's no
crosswalk.
enforcement? There's no enforcement.
Yeah, I saw a policeman there at the school, and I said, I thought part of it was the school property, and he said, oh, no, that's probably, I said, well, what do we do about it? He says, you talk to the people that own the property, like, I mean, it's kind of silly, but that's a long stretch of sidewalk. That's very nice to be on.
Mhm.
And when you can't be on it, especially in the winter,
I
yeah,
never knew that.
they didn't. I have pictures of the snow pile, and also on Bradley. There was a whole area on Bradley, the sidewalk on Bradley getting near Wall Street, where right after the Spotlight Cleaner there, nobody did anything. You had to go out in the street to walk it.
I
So,
think over in Guilford, I've seen a town, like a little snow blower, one of these 4-wheel drive snow blowers. So the town, in Guilford, I think the town has been doing like everything in the center of town as far as sidewalks because of that issue. All it takes is like one property owner. They may live in New York, and they're not even home.
that's right. Yeah, that's what happens. And, even the sidewalk down here on Middle Beach, it takes a day or two before, I don't know who clears it, but it's not cleared for quite a while.
Yeah.
It's a
And-
lot better than New Haven though, Ellen. I'm sorry to say.
Well, but I think there should be some protocol for that because people
Yeah.
walk no matter what. The people are out on the streets and
We're here to make recommendations.
yeah.
So get that in it.
Yes, if only there was a listening ear.
Well, maybe our wheels have to squeak a little bit more, but I think we have to come up with our master plan first before we can do an awful lot of squeaking.
Yeah.
As a group, that is. So that's you're done on the beach area, Ellen?
Yeah,
Ellen?
we'll be done. We'll be done soon.
Yeah, I mean, for tonight, you've.
I'm done.
Okay,
I'm never done.
Okay, Lyanne without Anna. I wonder if Red would join you. Red, would you join the Safe Routes to School group?
Yeah, I've ridden my bike to school, I think like when it's not raining for like the past couple of months. So
Great.
I mean, what's not to benefit?
Okay, I have your email, right, Red?
I
The
think
same
so.
one. So I'll get in touch with you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Ellen, have you been able to get anywhere, or you do have the RSA to work with, right?
You mean Lyanne?
I mean, excuse me, Lyanne, yes.
Yeah, it's I've made Ellen and I had already done quite a bit, but
Yeah.
I have it. The only question I have really is whether we want to look at Brown. And David, I think you said there might be an access from Summerhill. I don't know whether to pursue that or how to find out if it's feasible at all.
Yeah, I can help you with that, Lan. We could probably look into it together. Can you reach out to me on email? We'll set something up and we can look at GIS and look at some mapping and see if we can figure that out.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I did have one more question. And again, this is for you, David. We had the RSA for the Route 1 East that we all did and made comments on. And were you able to get that to Melissa
So
yet?
I only got your comments. I didn't get any comments from anybody else, so I was kind of just sitting on it. If that's the only comments we have, I can get those back to Melissa, but I haven't done that yet.
Okay, no, Ellen did make comment. I think Ginny and Ellen both made
Oh,
comments.
did Ginny? Yeah, we all did.
Yeah, I made comments.
Maybe I have, I can probably find them, and why don't I send them and then.
Yeah, why don't you send them to me? Because I only got, maybe I got them. I didn't see them though. The ones
Okay.
from Ellen in Virginia.
Okay.
Because I have yours flagged in my email, Lyanne.
Okay, yeah, I have Ellen and Ginny's. I'll copy all four of us, just Ginny and Ellen, so you
Great.
make sure I have the right thing.
Great. Okay, that's,
And Red, do you happen to know Anna at school? I emailed her twice about trying to get together, but I'm not sure. Is she a senior, by the way?
Yes.
Last
Okay.
name?
Okay, never mind. I think
Yeah, she's a
done.
senior.
Yeah.
She's
I think
done.
the last
Okay,
day of
that's-
school
that's-
tomorrow, so.
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna bother her with this.
I
all
can
right.
I can snag someone from our either like cross country team or like we have a bike club that's starting up at school that is that's got lots of mountain bikers that Mr. Engelhart is running. So I could like see if I could get a recommendation from him for someone if that wants to be like a student rep or something.
that'd be great.
Good, good, terrific.
Okay, so moving on to other business, Jean wanted me to remind you that she's posting on Facebook and Instagram, and you need to go in there and like it. She's done some really neat stuff.
She's doing a great job, I
She
think.
is, yeah. Yeah, they're very they're just really classy looking and now they're regular, which is great.
Yeah, and she has the idea to possibly, right now they've been very upbeat,
Mhm.
and she has the idea to maybe do safety tips on like Tuesday tips and then something fun on Fridays.
That sounds
So,
great.
yeah, we'll see, but.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else have any other business we need to discuss tonight? I see Jack in the background.
You have anything you want to say?
He's very
Something else we
quiet.
could maybe do for like the Instagram is if we're like we could do like videos of like the trails or something like for biking or hikes and do like stuff like that. Try to get like people to go out on certain trails or something.
That's a
Red,
fun.
if you have any videos, send them to Jean. Because she'll take them and I think she does plan, she's talked about, she hasn't figured out videos yet, I don't think, but she can try that, or even just pictures.
That's a super idea, Red, and it's nice to meet you. It goes to, John's point that especially on a woodland trail, conditions change. And if you think about a dynamic updating of someone that just rode the trail and it was flooded here and checked your whatever feed it might be on. I think it's dynamite suggestion.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
Mhm.
Okay, do we have other business? Or should we get out our kerchiefs now and wave goodbye to David? With a
Don't make
tear?
me feel too guilty now.
Terrible, it's terrible.
Ginny, I just wanted to ask, Lyanne and I talked about better maps or something.
Yeah,
Did you want to talk to Dave about, we don't like the maps. If we all were kind of working with a similar map for putting our,
I thought the maps John was doing in the beginning were terrific.
yeah.
Well, the maps that are in the master plan now are not, have errors in them, and
Yeah.
My
when we're
recollection of
doing all
our,
these,
my recollection of our conversations were that we were going to try to nail down the concepts a little bit better, kind of what we're working on now. And then after we're kind of more comfortable with the content and the concepts, we're going to go back out and either get some consulting help to improve the maps, or, if we could do some on our own, but I think a consultant could help with that. So, depending on that timing, my replacement could assist with that, or, potentially just directly with the first select woman's office could find a way to find the funding for that effort. So, maybe Virginia and I can talk about how to approach that between now and.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody want to say anything else to David?
Well, I'll say something.
Okay,
So I
okay.
think your idea that you mentioned earlier, Virginia, about having Rob potentially from Public Works maybe liaisoning with the commission, and maybe it's not an every meeting thing, but even if he just comes once and then, 3 months later comes again, I think it would help improve that connection with Public Works that we talked about earlier. And I do think Rob would likely enjoy some aspects of it. He talks to me about this stuff routinely, so I think he would get engaged. So I think that would be a good thing to do. The hiring for my replacement is underway, but the reality is, they're probably not going to be able to have somebody here until September 1st, at the earliest, just based on interviewing and them giving notice and everything else. So the town is going to hire a consultant to kind of fill the gap, planning consultant. It's unlikely that that person would be able to just regularly attend your meeting, and that's going to be the case with several of the boards and commissions I work with. But they would be available to assist if needed on, particular topics. So I'll make sure you have all the information you need to get in touch with those folks. But I will tell you that you probably should prepare yourselves, not that I do a lot, but you should prepare yourselves to be somewhat self-sufficient for a few months while the town makes the transition. And, I'm have a meeting tomorrow to figure out whether future meetings are going to continue to be on Zoom or whether we're going to start meeting in person. So I hope to have a little bit more information tomorrow about that. So there is a potential that either starting in July or potentially August, that you could be meeting in person, potentially with a laptop at the end of the table recording the meeting, but not necessarily having to interface on Zoom with the public, since you're not a regulatory board. So I'm trying to work through some of those issues now as we speak. Does anybody have any questions about any of that kind of logistical stuff? Or we want to talk through any of that?
David and I David suggested that we might want to take July off, and so I put the next meeting as either in July or August, and I'd sort of like to hear from you all what your feelings are.
I'll actually be out of town, so
In July, okay.
yeah. So
Okay, it does bump up.
I guess it doesn't matter since we're on Zoom, but I might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is right. I think it's right before the 4th of July weekend.
It was right after, actually, it's the 6th.
Oh, okay.
So it's right
Oh,
after.
then I'll be here actually. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. How do you feel? Should we have a meeting in July or not? Somebody speak up.
I can go either way.
Yeah.
Are there some deadlines? Is there any deadline with anything in August? Or am I thinking of something else? With any of our applications or anything that we're working
I
on?
don't think so. I think
The only question then is maybe if Ellen needs support with Public Works for Neck Road, if they're going to go ahead and pave, or
Right.
or can that be
So I
done?
think, to be honest with you, the answer to that question is the first select woman. And so the Board of Selectmen adopted a policy, and
yeah.
she's the administrative arm of the Board of Selectmen and in charge of town government. So in my mind, there's your.
Well, and I don't think whatever Ellen finds out tomorrow, because I know she's going to talk to John tomorrow, is then I don't think she'd wait till July 6th to be
No, I
resolved if there's an issue.
Well, the only thing about not having a July meeting is maybe, you tend to take it off, like, oh, for break, but maybe.
Well, see, that would be my thing. If you all promise to work very hard on your section of town between now and August, then we could take July off.
Yeah, we have a lot of time, so it should be completed
That's right,
by
exactly.
August.
Well, I do think we should start get some things in writing.
Yep.
So, that we can share with each other to talk about.
I was
Eventually, this is all going to have to be in writing to go into the master plan.
So Red, are you around in the summer? Are you?
So I have a cousin that's going to be coming for like a couple of weeks from Europe, but other than that, I can just like put her on the back burner or something.
Okay. Because I had been thinking, I didn't know, Rich, that you would be available to help John with downtown, but if you want more people, I was thinking I would offer to help with that. That does interest me, but I'm just saying. So sometimes two heads is better. It's a good number, so.
I think if
Yeah.
you want to do that, you should.
Well, I'll see how it goes.
I'm putting you on the list right now.
Yeah, there's plenty of problems.
I'm looking at
Couldn't
this
be
thing
more
as,
important.
I do think downtown is the most is going to be.
well,
I think it's going to be the most complex.
we all overlap. I see this as like a puzzle, and we all, do
Yeah.
our piece, and then we're going to fit it all together, and there's going to be overlapping for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the downtown is like the heart of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Everything connects to it, yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
Schools, shoreline.
And like downtown's like the thing everyone knows like Madison for. Like no one knows Madison for like the trails. Like if we want to have like more of like a Block Island vibe, I think downtown is going to be the first place to start. If we want to keep going with the small, sleepy beach town.
Okay. Okay. So what did we decide? Are we meeting in July or not?
No,
Okay. Anybody else?
I can't hear you, Rich. I think your mic is off.
No, I said, no, we're all gonna work.
We're going to work. Okay.
Work.
And we're gonna come back in August.
All fired up.
all fired up. There you go.
With something in writing.
Okay.
And write it.
Yes. Very good. Okay.
Oh, does anybody want, Lyanne and I we're talking about the toolbox, which is all the type of bike and pedestrian facilities that we felt were relevant to Madison. And there's also the traffic calming section that has traffic calming measures that might be appropriate. And we thought we should share those with each network so you kind of know what you're talking about.
I think that's a great idea.
Because, for example, things like a speed table, which is more accepted. There's a speed table if you go into Surf Club. You drive over that kind of, it's like a speed hump, but it's longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's there. They have speed humps going into Polson into the school grounds and everything. Those are speed humps. They're a little shorter. They're not speed bumps. They're speed humps. And then there's all variations of them, which are traffic calming measures, which we're thinking of suggesting down here on these roads. So
They actually have removable ones at Hammonasset.
yeah, they have speed cushions
Is that what they call them?
that they remove. They also have staggered ones. So you have like a speed cushion, and then 200 feet down the road, you have one on the opposite, in the opposite lane. So emergency vehicle could actually go around them, go into the wrong lane if it really had to go fast. Because that's often, you have to find out who doesn't like them and why the town might not want to do them. Snow plows, emergency vehicles, fire engines, things like that. But those are, they're very useful for.
No, I think your idea that if you could send that to the whole committee.
Yeah, it's what we thought we would send that, right, Lyanne?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Ellen did the traffic calming. She did a very good job of.
I think that's a great idea.
There's a lot out there, and she narrowed it down to.
Yeah, there's a lot more, and it might not make a lot of sense, some of them, and there might be others. There's like 22 different measures you could use, but they applied to like cities, things like that. And so it was not necessarily appropriate, but I think it gives us some, it gives you more to kind of say, oh, wow, this is a possibility. John is not going to be happy.
New Haven has a whole lot of them that are new. especially the cushions
Mm-hmm.
that are, and they're combined very often with crosswalks, but they're all over the place. They're popping up.
Yeah, they have raised crosswalks.
Mhm.
Wouldn't that be great on Middle Beach? It's a speed table where
Yeah.
you put a crosswalk. So
Yeah.
you're getting two
Right,
things.
that'd be a good idea.
You know,
Yale has them all over.
Hmm?
and in Providence, there's a speed table in front of the state capitol.
I mean, it's very doable. I mean, if the argument is emergency vehicles, they have a speed table at Surf Club. Now, the kids are playing football on that field. They need to get emergency vehicles there, right? Or not, I would think that shouldn't, if they allow it in one place, they should allow it on Middle Beach Road.
Yes.
I mean, there's a beach there, and then there's ball fields.
Yeah.
So, and crowds, picnics, and fire engines, because there's, grills. I mean, so if they allow it there, then I think it should be allowed here. So I would fight that argument. So anyway, that's something that we could think about too. So
Okay.
we'll get those out. Yeah, we already talked about that, right, Lyanne?
Yep. So when is your last day, David?
The 18th of June, so a couple weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah,
Well,
comes
it's good
quick.
you have some vacation time before you start up again then.
I have, yeah, I got a couple of weeks and then I'll be right back into it, but less night meetings, a lot less night meetings, which would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. What will
Okay.
you be doing there exactly? Can you share what you're
Yeah,
doing?
so I'm going to be working for Save the Sound, as I mentioned to you in the email, and I'm going to be doing some primarily land conservation work. So they've worked to help protect Plum Island in the past. They helped protect the preserve in Essex and Old Saybrook, and they've got other properties that around the state that they're working on now. So that'll be my primary responsibility. Then I'll be doing some legislative advocacy work with the state legislature for different environmental friendly policies. And so that'll be a big part of the job too. And then, it's a smaller nonprofit. There's about 40, full-time employees. So I'll be doing a little bit of everything that's, needed for the organization. But I'm hoping also to continue working with municipalities and trying to help facilitate adoption of ordinances and regulations to protect natural resources, because I've found it difficult for towns to do it on their own, because the question's always asked, well, what are other towns doing, or why are we the first ones to do this? And it makes it a challenge. But if towns could coordinate a little better and they all want to go in the same direction, I think you can make a little more progress. So I expect to still be involved with the town of Madison in an official capacity in some form or another in the future. It's just in a different role. So.
But now you have a commute.
Yeah. Well, I won't have a commute because they're still actually working remotely until September, and then I'll only have to go in a few days a week. But having not left Madison much at all over the past 9 years, I'm actually looking forward to getting out of town a little bit.
Yeah, you can have lunch with your wife. She works in New Haven, doesn't she?
Exactly.
There you go.
Okay, so David, we wish you well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good luck, David.
And
Thank
we
you
look
very
forward
much.
to
I'll be in touch before I leave again and give you all my contact information, and
Great.
hopefully I'll see John Bean a little bit more, so he knows how to find me very easily. But anyone else obviously is welcome to contact me, and I'll feel the same way. If I have an idea that I want to share with you, I'll just reach out.
Great.
Right.
And we look forward to the day you rejoin us.
Yes,
right.
that's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been really wonderful shepherding us to where we are now. So
Yes.
thank you.
Well, I'll say one last thing. I feel very sorry to have kind of left where we're still really kind of in the beginning of the work, but I'm very pleased that we were able to be made a permanent committee, because I do feel like in the long run, all this effort is going to produce results. It's just going to be, frustrating along the way, and that's what we should expect. But I think if you guys keep at it, and then people that, kind of fill in after you keep at it, we'll make a lot of progress. So I'm excited to see it.
Well, thank you.
Good luck
Okay.
to you.
I'm going to adjourn the meeting then. And we'll see you all in August, except for David.
I know.
Good luck, David.
Thanks.
Okay.
Good luck.
Good luck,
Good luck,
David.
All
David.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.